5 years after its official commissioning, the U.S. Navy's newest supercarrier, USS Gerald R. Ford, has set sail in the Atlantic Ocean for its first official deployment. This milestone comes after years of preparation for the Ford, which faced numerous significant technical issues, both before and after its formal delivery to the Navy. The Ford departed Naval Station Norfolk in Virginia earlier today, 2 days later than initially planned due to poor weather in the region. Of course, this is not the Ford's first time at sea. The vessel has undergone a series of sea trials and certifications and has participated in various testing and training events over the years. For this deployment, the USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group will include Carrier Air Wing 8, CVW-8, the Ticonderoga-class cruiser, USS Normandy, and 3 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers from Destroyer Squadron 2, Desron 2, USS Ramage, USS McFall, and USS Thomas Hudner. The strike group also includes the Henry J. Kaiser-class Fleet Replenishment Oiler, USNS Joshua Humphreys, the Lewis and Clark-class dry cargo ship, USNS Robert E. Peary, and the Legend-class U.S. Coast Guard cutter, USCGC Hamilton. This deployment is an opportunity to advance the ball further and showcase the capabilities Ford and Carrier Air Wing 8 bring to the future of naval aviation, the region, and our allies and partners, said Rear Admiral Gregory Huffman, commander of Carrier Strike Group 12, in a pre-deployment statement last month. Previously, the Navy stated that Ford's journey in the Atlantic would be a limited, service-retained deployment, but the ship is expected to cross the Atlantic and conduct various exercises with other U.S. forces as well as allies and partners. Elements from the Canadian, Danish, Finnish, French, German, Dutch, Spanish, and Swedish militaries are anticipated to work with the Ford and its strike group during the deployment. The carrier is slated to execute 8 distinct phases during this service-retained deployment, the Navy noted. This will include operations with 6 Allied ships, as well as the Carrier Strike Group, U.S. Navy support, and destroyers. Across these 8 phases, it will conduct strike group steaming exercises, air defense drills, maritime domain awareness operations, long-range maritime strikes, distributed maritime operations, anti-submarine warfare exercises, and naval integration drills. In 2018, the U.S. Navy reactivated the U.S. Second Fleet in response to emerging threats in the North Atlantic, particularly from the Russian Navy and its growing fleet of more modern and ultra-quiet guided missile and ballistic missile submarines. Overall, the Navy is undoubtedly pleased to have finally deployed the Ford after years of technical difficulties and associated delays, including its new electromagnetic aircraft catapults, advanced arresting gear, weapons elevators, radars, and other systems. These challenges slowed the ship's progression to becoming a fully operational asset and added billions of dollars to its cost. The Ford's official cost was capped at $13.2 billion, nearly $3 billion more than initially expected. Subsequent ships in this class are also expected to have higher per-unit costs. According to the GAO, over the past decade, the U.S. Navy has spent nearly $4 billion upgrading 7 of its aging Ticonderoga-class cruisers. However, only 3 major surface ships will complete the modernization process, and none will receive the additional 5 years of service life originally anticipated. Nearly half of this expenditure, $1.84 billion, was wasted on modernizing 4 cruisers that never returned to sea and were decommissioned by the Navy. For the cost and comparatively short additional service life of the 3 upgraded cruisers, the Navy could have purchased 2 brand-new destroyers. While it is too late to salvage the cruiser modernization efforts, the failure to learn critical lessons poses a risk to the future of the Navy's surface fleet as it embarks on significant modernization efforts for other classes of ships, the report states. This is particularly relevant to the modernization of DDG 2.0 and the service life extension and upgrades for amphibious ships. While some issues were unique to the cruiser effort, we observed shortcomings in the planning and execution of Navy ship maintenance and modernization periods. The Ticonderoga-class cruisers carry Tomahawk land attack missiles, TLAM, and serve as air defense and missile defense batteries as well as command and control platforms. They are also equipped with Harpoon anti-ship missiles and MH-60R Seahawk helicopters, allowing them to conduct anti-submarine warfare operations. Built in the 1980s and early 1990s, they serve as key nodes in the Carrier Strike Group's air and missile defense architecture, with a unique capability to host the Strike Group's air defense commander. Currently, 9 cruisers remain in service with the U.S. Navy. 6 of them are slated for decommissioning in the coming years, while the remaining 3, USS Gettysburg CG-64, USS Chosin CG-65, and USS Cape St. George CG-71, have been or are close to being modernized and are expected to return to service by the end of the decade. The modernization included upgrades to the Aegis Combat System, a new AN/SPQ-9B radar, enhancements to the existing AN/SPY-1B radar, an updated SQQ-89 AV-15 sonar suite, modifications to the Mark 41 vertical launching system, VLS, and other improvements. This week, the Gettysburg entered the waters of U.S. Central Command in the Middle East, alongside the rest of the USS Harry S. Truman CVN-75 Carrier Strike Group, where it will perform air defense duties in a region that has faced missile and drone attacks from Iran-backed Houthi rebels over the past year. The modernization and sea trials of the Chosin were completed in early 2024, and the Navy plans to redeploy it before its scheduled decommissioning in the 2027 fiscal year. The Navy has been working to ensure that Flight 3 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers assume the cruiser's air defense command role. However, as of now, the fleet has only one Flight 3 destroyer, and questions have arisen about the viability of having a maximum capability subclass of destroyers serving in such roles. The GAO notes that the new Flight 3 ships are facing significant delivery delays, with some vessels lagging more than 2 years behind schedule. The USS George H.W. Bush CVN-77 is now the first U.S. Navy supercarrier to feature a fully dedicated Unmanned Aerial Warfare Center, UAWC. This new control center is intended to serve as the nerve center for the operation of future unmanned aircraft, including the MQ-25 Stingray aerial refueling drones and the deck-based Collaborative Combat Aircraft CCA. Ultimately, the Navy plans to add UAWCs to all Nimitz and Ford-class carriers. The Carrier Base Control Center, known as UAWC, includes the software and hardware systems that constitute the first fully operational and integrated ground control station, GCS, for the MD-5E Unmanned Carrier Aviation Mission Control System, UMCS, according to a press release. UMCS is a system of systems, and the MD-5E was developed by the Navy and incorporates Lockheed Martin's Multi-Domain Combat System, MDCX, which forms the backbone of the GCS, as well as additional support equipment and hardware. The Navy states that the primary goals of the MQ-25 today are to help extend the range of the carrier air wing and eliminate the current need to use FA-18EF Super Hornet fighters as aerial refuelers. The Stingray will also have secondary intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance ISR capabilities, and there are ongoing discussions about expanding its roles further, including as a strike platform. The Navy has been working for years to create a training pipeline for MQ-25 operators using shore-based facilities. Both land and sea-based testing of the Stingray itself are ongoing. The overall MQ-25 program has faced significant delays and cost increases since Boeing won the CBARS competition in 2018. The initial goal was to achieve initial operational capability with the Stingray this year, but that has been postponed to 2026. The Navy still plans to eventually acquire a full fleet of 76 refueling drones. Since 2021, Navy officials have repeatedly stated that they expect 60% or more of the aircraft in future carrier air wings to eventually be unmanned. The USS Carl Vinson, CVN-70, USS Theodore Roosevelt, CVN-71, and USS Ronald Reagan, CVN-76, are next in line to receive full UAWCS, starting in the 2025 fiscal year. The Navy has previously stated that at least 3 carriers already have MD-5 components installed. With the completion of the new Unmanned Control Center aboard the USS George H.W. Bush, the U.S. Navy has taken a significant step forward in its broader vision for unmanned naval aviation. That's all for today. Thank you for reading until the end. Subscribe to our channel and see you next time.